Hello, welcome back for the video for lesson 9.2. This video is all over the shape called an ellipse. And you can see where it kind of looks like it's an oval, and the oval can be horizontal like this, where we call the major axis the longer axis and the minor is the shorter. It can also be vertical, where it might look like an egg shaped. So here's the definition of an ellipse. It's the set of all points in a plane such that the sum of the distances of x, y from two fixed points in the plane is equal to a fixed positive number d, where d is greater than the distance between the fixed points. So we are going to look at some important pieces. So together, these fixed points are called the foci. Okay. And I'm going to help you find those. So it says decide if the ellipse is vertical or horizontal, and then find the center, the vertex, and the foci of the ellipse that satisfies the given equation. So if you flip the page of your notes, this is where it describes the two situations. So we could have a horizontal ellipse here, where you'll see the x squared plus the y squared. The x squared is over the a squared. And this is where we have the a values are on the x-axis. So this is where that's the major axis. And then the x is always, and a is always the major axis. So a is on the y, a is the major axis over here on the vertical one. So let's just mark that. A is the major. A is always the major. So what if A is underneath the x squared, then it tells you that the x-axis is the major axis, and A is under the y squared over here. So A is under the y squared. So the y-axis is where the major axis is. The center is at 0, 0. We will have some shifting on the next page. That's the thing will be different, is that we will have some shifting left and right and up and down from the center at the origin, but these first basic ones are at the origin. And then the foci is based on a negative c, and c can be found by finding the square root of the difference of a squared minus b squared. And that calculation is the same in both ways. Okay. And when x is your major axis, then your foci are going to be in the x coordinate. And when y is your major axis, then your foci is going to have c is going to be in your y coordinate. Okay. And the same with your a. Your vertices will be in the major axes on both. So let's just jump in and look at a couple examples. So here, we have x squared over 25 plus y squared over 16. And so that is the same as 5 squared and 4 squared. And because 5 is bigger than 4, then we know that that's our a. So a is equal to 5 and b is equal to 4. And so we know that our center is at 0, 0. You can see that there's no shifting on x and y. And our vertices are at a negative a, 0, and a, 0. And a is 5. So it's a negative 5, 0, and 5, 0. And we have to find c. Remember, c is equal to the square root of a squared minus b squared. So that would be 25 minus 16, or the square root of 9 is 3. And so our foci are at a negative 3, 0, and 3, 0. And it's a horizontal. And that's because A is bigger than B. So A is where the major axes is. Okay, let's look at B. So B, we have A is under the Y because that's the bigger one. And it's vertical. And we can find our C. 16 minus 9. So C is the square root of 7. So my foci on this one are at a negative square root of, whoops, because it's a vertical, then my major axis is on the Y. So sorry, this is at 0 and a negative square root of 7 and 0 and the positive square root of 7. And then my center is at 0, 0 on this one. And my vertices are at 0 and a negative A and 0 and a positive A. Then example 2. So example 2 has some shifting, and you can see that here with the X and the Y. So that is going to be shown on the second page where the shifting. So the shifting is going to affect your H and K. That is your center is no longer at 0, 0. And then that's going to affect your foci and your vertices here. So we're going to get practice with those. So on this one, we can see that it is vertical because A is equal to 4 under the Y. That's important to know. And so C is equal to 16 minus 9 or square root of 7. And so our foci are equal to H and then K minus C and H and K plus C. And H is at a negative 3 and K is at a negative 1. So that makes our center at a negative 3, negative 1. And so we're going to use those here. So that means we're at H is a negative 3 and a negative 1 minus the square root of 7. And then a negative 3 and a negative 1 plus the square root of 7 are the foci. And then our vertices are at H and K minus A and H and K plus A. And so H is a negative 3 and then a negative 1 minus 4. So that will be a negative 3 and a negative 5. And then a negative 3 and a negative 1 plus 4. So that'll be a negative 3 and 3. And this next example is our last example for the ellipse. And we can see that this one is horizontal. Because our A is under here, is under the X. So this one is horizontal. A is 10 and B is 6. So this time C is 100 minus 36, or the square root of 64, or 8. So our foci are going to be at H minus C comma K this time, and H plus C comma K. And then our H is equal to 1 and K is equal to a -1. So that's our center. And so we have 1 minus 8 comma a -1. So that foci is at a -7, -1. And then the other one is 1 plus 8 comma -1. So the other one is 9 and -1. Those are the foci. And then our vertices are at H minus A comma K and H plus A comma K. So we have 1 minus 10 comma -1. So that one's at a -9, -1. And then we have 1 plus 10 comma a -1. So the other one's at 11, -1. So it's all about recognizing if it's a horizontal or a vertical on the major axes, and then figuring out your A and B and then your center. Reach out if you have any questions.